Caleb's hands trembled as he gripped the controls of his battered starship. Alarms blared, red lights flashed, and smoke filled the cockpit. The lush green surface of Darksis loomed ever closer through the cracked viewport. "Come on, you piece of junk," he muttered, fighting to keep the nose up as the ship plummeted through the atmosphere. The dense canopy of alien trees rushed up to meet him. Caleb braced for impact, his mind flashing to the relentless pursuit that had driven him to this remote world. As the ship slammed into the jungle floor, his head whipped forward and everything went black. Nika's azure skin glistened with sweat as she crouched in the undergrowth, carefully harvesting medicinal herbs. The thunderous crash echoing through the jungle made her jolt upright, scattering leaves from her basket. Without hesitation, she sprinted toward the source of the sound, her lithe form weaving nimbly between massive tree trunks. As she burst into a newly formed clearing, Nika's breath caught in her throat. A sleek metal craft, unlike anything she'd ever seen, lay half buried in the rich soil. Smoke poured from jagged rents in its hull. Nika approached cautiously, her heart racing with a mixture of fear and excitement. She peered through a shattered section of the cockpit and gasped. An unconscious man was slumped over the controls, a trickle of blood running down his forehead. Without thinking, Nika wrenched open the damaged hatch and climbed inside. Up close, the stranger was even more fascinating. His skin was a pale shade she'd never encountered before, and his features were strikingly handsome despite the pained expression on his face. Nika gently brushed aside a lock of his dark hair, marveling at its texture. She placed 2 fingers against his neck, relieved to feel a steady pulse. But his breathing was shallow and erratic. Nika knew she had to act fast. Drawing on the ancient wisdom of her people, she leaned in close, her full lips hovering just above the stranger's mouth. She took a deep breath, focusing her energy, and then pressed her lips firmly against his. Caleb's eyes snapped open as consciousness came rushing back. The first thing he saw was a pair of startlingly vivid violet eyes, mere inches from his own. He jerked back instinctively, his hand reaching for the blaster at his hip. "Easy there, spaceman," a melodious voice chuckled. "Is that any way to thank your rescuer?" As his vision cleared, Caleb's jaw dropped. The most beautiful woman he'd ever seen was perched on the edge of his pilot's seat, regarding him with an amused smile. Her skin was a deep, rich blue that seemed to shimmer in the filtered sunlight. A cascade of iridescent hair framed a face of alien yet breathtaking loveliness. What?" Caleb stammered, his usual cool demeanor utterly shattered. The blue-skinned beauty laughed again, a sound like tinkling crystals. "Welcome to Darksis," she said, trailing a finger playfully along his jawline. "I'm Nika, and you are—" Caleb flinched at her touch, his survival instincts kicking in. "Nobody," he said gruffly, trying to put some distance between them in the cramped cockpit. "Look, I appreciate the help, but I need to get out of here." Nika's eyes widened in mock offense. "So rude. And after I used the sacred kiss of life to revive you." She winked, her full lips curving into a mischievous grin. "Don't worry. I won't tell anyone if you enjoyed it." Caleb felt heat rising to his cheeks. "That's not... wait, kiss of life?" "Oh yes," Nika nodded solemnly, though her eyes still danced with amusement. "A most sacred and serious ritual. Sometimes it must be performed multiple times to be truly effective." Despite himself, Caleb found a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. It had been a long time since he'd allowed himself to relax enough for playful banter. But the gravity of his situation quickly reasserted itself. "Listen, Nika," he said, forcing his tone to remain even. "I'm grateful for your help. but I'm in a dangerous situation. The less you know about me, the safer you'll be." Nika's expression softened, curiosity and concern mingling in her gaze. "You're hurt and your skyboat is broken," she said. "At least let me take you back to my village. We can tend to your wounds and figure out what to do next." Caleb hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to put as much distance between himself and other people as possible. But his ship was clearly beyond quick repair, and he had no idea what dangers this alien world might hold. "All right," he conceded reluctantly, "but just for a little while. I can't stay long." Nika beamed, her entire face lighting up with joy. "Excellent! Oh, you're going to love it. We so rarely get visitors from beyond the stars. Everyone will be so excited to meet you." As they exited the crashed ship, Caleb winced at the bright sunlight and leaned heavily against the hull. His head was pounding, and he suspected he had at least one cracked rib. "Here, lean on me," Nika offered, slipping under his arm to support him. Caleb couldn't help but notice how perfectly she seemed to fit against his side, her skin cool and smooth against his. They set off through the dense jungle, Nika gracefully guiding them along barely visible paths. As they walked, she peppered Caleb with questions. "So, what's it like out there among the stars? How many worlds have you seen? Oh, have you ever encountered any truly strange alien life forms? Besides me, of course," she added with a wink. Caleb found himself chuckling despite his best efforts to maintain his guard. "It's big," he said simply. "Lots of worlds, lots of people, some good, some bad." "And which are you?" Nika asked, her tone light but her eyes searching. Caleb looked away. "I'm just trying to survive," he muttered. Nika squeezed his hand gently. "Well, you've come to the right place for that. Darksis has a way of healing all sorts of wounds, even the ones you can't see." As they continued their journey, Caleb found himself increasingly distracted by Nika's proximity. The sway of her hips as she walked, the floral scent of her hair, the musical lilt of her voice, it all combined to stir feelings he'd long thought buried. "So," he said, desperate to focus on something else, "your people, are they all as, friendly as you?" Nika laughed. "Oh yes, we're a very affectionate bunch. You'll see when we reach the village. I hope you're ready for lots of hugs." Caleb blanched. "I'm not really much of a hugger." "No?" Nika's eyes twinkled with mischief. "Well, we'll just have to work on that, won't we?" Before Caleb could formulate a response, they emerged from the jungle into a large clearing. His eyes widened as he took in the sight before him. Nestled among the towering trees was a village unlike any he'd ever seen. Graceful structures of living wood and shimmering crystal seemed to grow organically from the forest itself. Blue-skinned people of all ages moved about their daily lives, many stopping to wave cheerfully at the newcomers. "Welcome to Arborea," Nika said proudly. "My home." As they entered the village proper, Caleb tensed. A lifetime of caution made him wary of the curious looks and friendly smiles directed his way. His unease only grew as an older man with elaborate facial markings approached, arms outstretched. "Nika, my dear," the man exclaimed, "who is this fascinating stranger you've brought to us?" "Father," Nika replied with a respectful nod. "This is, actually, I don't know his name yet, but his skyboat fell from the heavens and he's in need of our help." The older man's eyes widened with delight. "A visitor from the stars, how wonderful." Without warning, he stepped forward and enveloped Caleb in a warm embrace. Caleb stiffened, every muscle in his body screaming to push the man away. But he forced himself to endure the hug, acutely aware of Nika's amused gaze. "I am Zoran, chief of Arborea," the man said as he finally released Caleb. "You are most welcome here, Star Traveler. Come, you must join us for the evening meal and tell us of your journeys." "I appreciate the offer," Caleb said carefully, "but I really need to focus on repairing my ship. I can't stay long." Zoran waved a hand dismissively. "Nonsense. You're injured and in need of rest. The ship can wait until morning. For now, let us celebrate your arrival." Before Caleb could protest further, he found himself swept along by a tide of enthusiastic villagers. Everywhere he turned, there were smiling faces, curious questions, and far too many hugs for his comfort. Throughout it all, Nika remained by his side, her presence both reassuring and unsettling. She seemed to sense his discomfort, deftly steering him away from the most exuberant villagers and finding moments of relative quiet. As the sun began to set, casting the village in a warm, golden glow, Caleb found himself seated at a long table laden with exotic fruits and unfamiliar dishes. The entire village seemed to have turned out for the impromptu feast. "Try this," Nika said, offering him a luminous purple fruit. "It's a local delicacy." Caleb hesitated, then took a cautious bite. His eyes widened as an explosion of flavors danced across his tongue, sweet, tart, and with a hint of something almost spicy. "Good, right?" Nika grinned, leaning in close. "Just wait until you try some of our wines." As the night wore on, Caleb found himself relaxing despite his best efforts. The villagers' genuine warmth and Nika's playful banter slowly chipped away at his defenses. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to simply enjoy the moment. But as the celebration began to wind down, reality came crashing back. Caleb knew he couldn't afford to let his guard down, not with the danger that pursued him across the galaxy. "I need some air," he muttered to Nika, rising from the table. She nodded, understanding, then stood to join him. "I know just the place," she said, taking his hand. "Come on." Nika led him away from the village, down a winding path that glowed faintly in the moonlight. As they walked, Caleb couldn't help but marvel at the alien beauty of Darksis. Bioluminescent plants cast the forest in a soft, ethereal light, while strange creatures chittered and called from the shadows. Finally, they emerged into a small clearing dominated by an enormous tree. Its trunk was easily as wide as Caleb's crashed ship, and its branches reached impossibly high into the night sky. "The heart tree," Nika said reverently. "The oldest and wisest living thing on Darksis. Some say it remembers the day the first star was born." Caleb stared up at the massive tree, momentarily overwhelmed by the weight of years it represented. "It's incredible," he breathed. Nika smiled, a hint of pride in her voice. "I often come here when I need to think or find peace. I thought you might appreciate it too." They stood in comfortable silence for a long moment, simply taking in the majesty of their surroundings. Then Nika turned to face Caleb, her expression suddenly serious. "I know you're running from something," she said softly. "I can see it in your eyes, hear it in your voice. Whatever it is, you're safe here. Darksis has ways of protecting its own." Caleb shook his head. "You don't understand. The people after me, they're relentless. They'll tear this world apart to get to me. I can't stay, for your sake as much as mine." Nika stepped closer, her violet eyes searching his face. "Then let us help you. My people have knowledge and technologies you couldn't imagine. We could—" "No," Caleb interrupted firmly. "I won't put you in danger. As soon as my ship is repaired, I have to leave." A flash of hurt crossed Nika's features, quickly replaced by determination. "You're so focused on running," she said, "that you can't see what's right in front of you." Before Caleb could react, Nika closed the distance between them, Her lips met his in a kiss that was at once gentle and passionate. For a heartbeat, Caleb forgot everything, his pursuers, his fears, even his own name. There was only Nika and the incredible sensation she awakened in him. Then reality reasserted itself and Caleb pulled away. "I can't," he said hoarsely. "I'm sorry, but I can't." Nika regarded him sadly. "Can't or won't?" she asked. "There's a difference, you know." With that, she turned and walked back toward the village, leaving Caleb alone beneath the sprawling branches of the heart tree. He watched her go, a war raging in his chest between desire and duty, between the promise of something beautiful and the cold reality of his dangerous life. As the first hints of dawn began to lighten the eastern sky, Caleb made his decision. He would repair his ship as quickly as possible and leave Darksis behind. It was the only way to keep Nika and her people safe. But as he started back toward the village, a tiny voice in the back of his mind whispered a dangerous question. What if there was another way? Caleb wiped sweat from his brow as he tinkered with the damaged systems of his ship. The jungle heat was oppressive, made worse by his stubborn insistence on wearing his heavy flight jacket. Old habits died hard. A rustling in the nearby foliage made him tense, hand instinctively moving to his blaster. But it was only Nika, emerging from the lush greenery with her usual grace. Caleb's breath caught as he took in her lithe form, her blue skin practically glowing in the dappled sunlight. "Still at it, I see," Nika said, a hint of concern in her voice. "You've been out here since dawn." Caleb shrugged, turning back to his work. "Ship's not going to fix itself." Nika sighed, moving closer. "You know, there's more to life than constant vigilance and escape plans. When was the last time you just relaxed?" "Relaxation gets you killed," Caleb muttered, but there was less conviction in his voice than he'd intended. Nika hummed thoughtfully. She reached into a small pouch at her hip and produced a strange iridescent fruit. "Perhaps this will change your mind. We call it the ice melter. One bite, and even the coldest heart begins to thaw." Caleb eyed the fruit suspiciously. "What is it? Some kind of drug?" Nika laughed, the sound like wind chimes in a summer breeze. "Nothing so sinister, just a little local delicacy, unless you're afraid." The challenge in her eyes was unmistakable. Caleb hesitated, then reached for the fruit. "Fine, but if I start hallucinating or something, I'm blaming you." He took a cautious bite. Immediately, an explosion of flavors burst across his tongue, sweet, tart, with an underlying warmth that spread through his entire body. Caleb's eyes widened in surprise. "This is incredible," he admitted. Nika beamed. "See? Not everything unfamiliar is dangerous." As Caleb savored the fruit, he felt a subtle shift within himself. The constant tension in his muscles began to ease, and for the first time in years, he allowed himself to truly notice his surroundings. The vibrant colors of the jungle, the soothing sounds of alien birds, the intoxicating scent of Nika's skin. He shook his head, trying to clear it. "I should get back to work," he said, but his tone lacked conviction. Nika placed a hand on his arm, sending a jolt of electricity through him. "You've been working non-stop. Surely you can spare a few moments for a tour of my world." Caleb knew he should refuse. Every moment he stayed increased the danger to Nika and her people. But looking into her violet eyes, he found his resolve crumbling. "All right," he said softly. "Show me your world." Nika's face lit up with joy. She took his hand, leading him away from the crashed ship and deeper into the jungle. As they walked, she pointed out the wonders of Darksis, bioluminescent flowers that pulsed with inner light, towering trees with spiraling crystalline bark, small creatures that seemed to phase in and out of reality. Caleb found himself genuinely fascinated. He'd visited countless worlds in his travels, but none quite like this, and none, he had to admit, with a guide quite like Nika. As the day wore on, Caleb felt the walls he'd built around himself slowly crumbling. He found himself laughing at Nika's jokes, marveling openly at the planet's beauty, and even sharing carefully edited stories from his past. They paused at the edge of a crystal-clear lake, its surface reflecting the alien sky like a perfect mirror. Nika turned to Caleb, her expression suddenly serious. "You're not what I expected, you know," she said softly. Caleb raised an eyebrow. "Oh? And what did you expect?" "From the way you act, I thought you'd be cold, detached. But there's a warmth in you, Caleb, a light. You just keep it hidden behind all that armor." Caleb looked away, uncomfortable with her perception. "You don't know me, Nika. The things I've done, the people I've hurt. I'm not a good man." Nika stepped closer, her hand coming to rest on his cheek. "I think you are. I think you're a man who's been forced to make impossible choices. But that doesn't define you." Her touch, her words, the entire surreal beauty of Darksis. It was all too much. Caleb felt something inside him snap. Without thinking, he pulled Nika close and kissed her deeply. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then Nika melted into his embrace, returning the kiss with equal passion. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing heavily. I'm sorry," Caleb stammered. "I shouldn't have—" Nika pressed a finger to his lips, silencing him. "Don't you dare apologize for that," she said with a mischievous grin. "In fact, I think we should do it again, just to be sure." As they kissed once more, Caleb felt the last of his defenses crumble. For better or worse, he was falling for this remarkable alien woman. Later, as they made their way back to the village, Caleb's mind raced. He knew he should leave, that every moment he stayed put Nika in danger. But the thought of never seeing her again, never feeling her touch or hearing her laugh, was almost physically painful. "You're brooding again," Nika observed, nudging him playfully. "What's going on in that head of yours?" Caleb sighed. "Just thinking about consequences." Nika's expression softened. "You know, not everything has to have dire consequences. Sometimes things can just be good." As they reached the outskirts of the village, Caleb made a decision. "There's something I want to show you," he said. "Back at my ship." Nika's eyes lit up with curiosity. "Ooh, a secret. Now this I have to see." They made their way back to the crash site, the fallen starship looking even more out of place in the lush jungle than before. Caleb led Nika inside, navigating the tilted corridors until they reached a small storage compartment. "Close your eyes," he instructed. Nika complied, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Caleb rummaged through the compartment, finally extracting a small insulated container. He opened it carefully, then turned back to Nika. "Okay, you can look now." Nika's eyes fluttered open, focusing on the strange object in Caleb's hands. "What is it?" she asked, leaning in for a closer look. "It's called ice cream," Caleb explained, "a dessert from my home world. I've been saving this last bit for, well, I don't know what for, but I want you to try it." Nika's eyes widened with delight. "A gift from the stars. I'm honored." She reached out, hesitating just before touching the cold container. "How do I—" Caleb chuckled, extracting a spoonful of the creamy treat. "Here, like this," he said, offering it to her. Nika leaned forward, wrapping her lips around the spoon. The moment the ice cream touched her tongue, her entire body went rigid. Her eyes flew open, pupils dilating in shock. "Cold," she gasped. "So cold, but oh!" What happened next nearly made Caleb drop the container. Nika began to writhe, her body undulating in a sinuous dance of pure pleasure. Soft moans escaped her lips, growing in intensity as the flavors exploded across her palate. Caleb felt his face burning, torn between embarrassment and a surge of desire. He'd never seen anyone react to ice cream quite like this before. Finally, Nika's movement stilled. She fixed Caleb with a gaze of molten intensity. "That," she purred, "was the most incredible thing I've ever experienced." Before Caleb could respond, Nika pounced. She kissed him fiercely, the lingering taste of vanilla mingling with the exotic flavor of her lips. Any remaining hesitation Caleb might have harbored evaporated in an instant. They stumbled out of the ship, lips locked and hands roaming. The cool night air of Darksis caressed their skin as they sank to the soft grass beneath the starry sky. What followed was a night of passion unlike anything Caleb had ever known. Nika's blue skin seemed to glow in the starlight, her lithe form moving with an otherworldly grace. They explored each other's bodies with fervent curiosity, discovering new sensations and shared pleasures. As dawn broke over Darksis, Caleb lay awake, Nika curled contentedly against his side. The events of the night replayed in his mind, filling him with a mixture of joy and dread. He had let his guard down completely, allowed himself to feel something he'd long thought impossible. But with that vulnerability came the crushing weight of reality. His pursuers were still out there, and now he had given them the perfect leverage against him. Nika stirred, her violet eyes fluttering open. She smiled up at Caleb, but her expression quickly turned to concern as she saw the conflict written on his face. "What's wrong?" she asked softly. Caleb took a deep breath. He owed her the truth, no matter the consequences. "There's something I need to tell you," he began, "about who I am and why I'm really here." Over the next hour, Caleb laid bare the truth of his past. He told Nika about the shadowy organization he'd once served, the atrocities he'd witnessed and participated in. He spoke of his eventual crisis of conscience, his decision to sabotage a mission and flee. "They've been hunting me ever since," he finished, unable to meet Nika's eyes. "I've stayed one step ahead, but it's only a matter of time before they track me here. I've put you and your entire people in danger just by being here." Silence stretched between them. Caleb braced himself for Nika's rejection, her fear, her anger. But when he finally found the courage to look at her, he saw only compassion in her eyes. "Oh, Caleb," she said softly, "you've been carrying this burden for so long, but you're not alone anymore." Caleb shook his head. "You don't understand. These people, they'll stop at nothing. I have to leave. It's the only way to keep you safe." Nika sat up, her expression fierce. "No, running isn't the answer, not anymore. We can fight this, together." "How?" Caleb asked, a hint of desperate hope creeping into his voice. Nika's eyes gleamed with determination. "My people have secrets of our own, Caleb. Ancient technologies hidden for generations. We've used them to keep Darksis safe and hidden from the outside world. But now, perhaps it's time to use them for something more." She stood, pulling Caleb to his feet. "Come with me. There's something I need to show you." As they made their way through the awakening village, Caleb felt a strange mix of emotions. Fear for what might come, yes, but also a growing sense of possibility. For the first time in years, he dared to imagine a future beyond mere survival. Nika led him to a hidden cave entrance, concealed behind a shimmering waterfall. As they ventured deeper into the earth, Caleb saw glowing symbols etched into the walls, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "What is this place?" he asked in awe. Nika's voice was filled with reverence. "The heart of Darksis, the source of our planet's power and protection, and perhaps the key to your freedom." As they emerged into a vast, crystal-lined chamber, Caleb felt a surge of hope. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he would face them with Nika by his side. Together, they might just find a way to break free from the shadows of the past and forge a new future among the stars. Caleb's eyes widened as he took in the vast chamber before him. Crystalline structures pulsed with an otherworldly light, casting shimmering patterns across the cavern walls. At the center stood a massive pillar of swirling energy, its core a blinding white that hurt to look at directly. "This is incredible," he breathed, struggling to process the sheer alien beauty of it all. Nika nodded, her blue skin taking on an ethereal glow in the strange light. "The heart of Darksis has protected our world for millennia. Its power extends far beyond our atmosphere, shielding us from detection." Caleb's mind raced with the implications. "That's why my ship crashed. Some kind of interference." "A side effect of the protection," Nika confirmed. "But it can do so much more. With the right knowledge, we can harness its power to create an impenetrable barrier around the entire planet." Before Caleb could respond, a distant boom echoed through the cavern. The crystals around them flickered, their light dimming momentarily. Nika's face paled. "No, it can't be." Caleb's hand instinctively went to his blaster. "What is it?" "An attack," Nika said, her voice tight with fear. "Something's breached our outer defenses." Realization hit Caleb like a punch to the gut. "They found me. Damn it. I should have left when I had the chance." Nika gripped his arm, her eyes blazing with determination. "This isn't your fault, Caleb, but we need to act fast. I can activate the heart's full defenses, but I'll need time." Another boom shook the cavern, closer this time. Caleb could hear the faint sound of weapons fire in the distance. "How long?" he asked, already knowing he wouldn't like the answer. 10 minutes, maybe less if I push it," Nika said. "But once I start, I can't stop. You'll have to hold them off." Caleb nodded grimly. "I'll buy you as much time as I can, but Nika, if this doesn't work..." She silenced him with a fierce kiss. "It will work, and when it's done, I expect you to be here. Understood?" A ghost of a smile tugged at Caleb's lips. "Yes, ma'am." With one last lingering look, Caleb turned and sprinted back toward the cavern entrance. The sounds of battle grew louder as he emerged into the jungle. Smoke rose from the direction of the village, and he could see flashes of weapons fire in the distance. Caleb's tactical training kicked in as he assessed the situation. The attackers seemed to be focusing on the village, likely thinking he was hiding there. That gave him an advantage, but not much of one. He crept through the underbrush, using the dense foliage for cover. As he neared the village outskirts, he caught his first glimpse of the enemy. Black-clad soldiers moved with military precision, their faces hidden behind opaque visors. Caleb recognized the insignia on their armor all too well. Taking a deep breath, he stepped out of cover and opened fire. His first shots caught the soldiers by surprise, dropping 2 before they could react. But their training was good, and they quickly returned fire, forcing Caleb back into the jungle. What followed was a deadly game of cat and mouse. Caleb used every trick he'd learned in his years on the run, striking fast and fading back into the shadows before the soldiers could pin him down. But there were too many of them, and they were pushing steadily toward the cavern entrance. Just as Caleb was beginning to think he'd bitten off more than he could chew, a blur of blue movement caught his eye. Nika burst from the underbrush, moving with inhuman speed and grace. Before the soldiers could react, she was among them, her limbs a whirlwind of precise strikes. Caleb watched in awe as Nika took down 3 soldiers in rapid succession. She moved like water, flowing around their attacks and striking at vulnerable points with devastating accuracy. It was unlike any fighting style he'd ever seen. Taking advantage of the distraction, Caleb flanked the remaining soldiers. Between his marksmanship and Nika's close-quarters prowess, they made short work of the squad. As the last soldier fell, Nika turned to Caleb, a fierce grin on her face. "Thought you could use a hand." Caleb shook his head in disbelief. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" "You think we stayed hidden all these years by being pacifists?" Nika winked. "My people have been warriors for generations. We just prefer not to advertise it." A distant explosion cut their conversation short. Caleb could see more soldiers advancing through the village. "We need to get back to the heart," Nika said urgently. "I've prepared it as much as I can, but the final activation requires both of us." They sprinted back toward the cavern entrance, ducking and weaving to avoid enemy fire. Just as they reached the waterfall concealing the entrance, a searing pain exploded in Caleb's shoulder. He stumbled, nearly falling before Nika caught him. "I'm fine," he grunted, though the spreading warmth told him the wound was bad. "We need to keep moving." Nika's eyes flashed with worry, but she nodded, helping him into the cavern. They could hear the soldiers shouting behind them, closing in fast. As they reached the central chamber, Caleb's vision began to swim. He leaned heavily on Nika, fighting to stay conscious. "What do I need to do?" he asked through gritted teeth. Nika guided him to a crystalline console near the energy pillar. "Place your hand here," she instructed. "The heart needs to recognize you as a protector of Darksis." Caleb hesitated. "Nika, I've done terrible things. I'm no protector." Nika cupped his face in her hands, her violet eyes boring into his. "You are to me, and to this world. Trust in that." Taking a shaky breath, Caleb placed his hand on the console. Immediately, he felt a surge of energy course through him. The pain in his shoulder faded, replaced by a feeling of warmth and belonging. The energy pillar flared brightly, tendrils of light spreading outward. They raced along the crystalline structures, up the walls of the cavern, and beyond. Caleb could feel the power expanding, enveloping the entire planet in its protective embrace. A deafening boom echoed through the chamber as the barrier snapped into place. The sounds of battle outside ceased abruptly, replaced by an eerie silence. Nika's face lit up with joy. "It worked! Darksis is safe!" Caleb sagged with relief, the adrenaline leaving his system. As the full impact of what they'd accomplished sank in, he began to laugh. It started as a low chuckle but quickly grew into full-bodied laughter. After a moment of surprise, Nika joined in. They stood there, holding each other and laughing in the glow of the heart, all the tension and fear of the past hours melting away. As their laughter subsided, Caleb looked at Nika with wonder. "So what happens now?" Nika's smile turned mischievous. Now we celebrate, and I think I know just the thing." She produced a small container from a hidden pocket, the last of Caleb's ice cream, somehow preserved through all the chaos. Caleb raised an eyebrow. "You saved that?" "Of course," Nika winked. "I told you it was the most incredible thing I'd ever experienced. Well, almost the most incredible." As they shared the sweet treat, Caleb felt a profound sense of peace settle over him. For the first time in years, he wasn't running. He wasn't looking over his shoulder or planning his next escape. He was simply home. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The barrier around Darksis held strong, its energy signature baffling the few ships that ventured near. Caleb's former employers, unable to penetrate the planet's defenses, eventually gave up their search and moved on to easier targets. Life in the village took on a new rhythm. Caleb found himself integrating into the community, sharing his knowledge of the wider galaxy while learning the ways of Darksis. The villagers, initially wary of the off-worlder, came to accept him as one of their own. But it was Nika who truly made Darksis feel like home. Her boundless curiosity, her strength, her ability to find joy in the smallest things, all of it continually amazed Caleb. He found himself falling deeper in love with her each day, even as part of him still struggled to believe he deserved such happiness. One evening, as the twin suns of Darksis began to set, Nika led Caleb to the top of a hill overlooking the village. The sky was awash in brilliant hues of orange and purple, the dense jungle canopy stretching out as far as the eye could see. "It's beautiful," Caleb said softly. Nika nodded, a contented smile on her face. "I used to come up here as a child, dreaming of what might be out there among the stars. Now I realize everything I ever wanted was right here all along." She turned to face him, her violet eyes shimmering with emotion. "I love you, Caleb, not in spite of your past, but because of it. Everything you've been through has made you who you are, the man I want to spend my life with." Caleb felt a lump form in his throat. Even after all this time, part of him still expected to wake up and find it had all been a dream. "Nika, I love you too, more than I ever thought possible. But are you sure? The things I've done—" Nika silenced him with a finger to his lips. "The past is the past. What matters is who you choose to be now, and the future we'll build together." She reached into a small pouch at her hip and produced 2 items, a piece of the iridescent, ice-melting fruit and a small scoop of ice cream. "Now," she said with a playful grin, "I think it's time for a proper Darksis Earth fusion dessert, don't you?" Caleb laughed, marveling at her ability to cut through his doubts with humor and love. As they shared the strange but delicious combination, he felt the last of his reservations melt away. Here, on this impossible world with this extraordinary woman, Caleb had found something he'd long thought lost, a future worth fighting for. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, their love as enduring as the stars themselves. As the last rays of sunlight painted the sky, Caleb pulled Nika close and kissed her deeply. In that moment, surrounded by the beauty of Darksis and wrapped in each other's arms, they were more than just 2 people from different worlds. They were home. Hey there, stargazers and alien enthusiasts. Thanks for tuning in to this cosmic tale of love, ice cream, and interstellar fugitives. I hope you enjoyed this wild ride through the jungles of Darksis. Remember, if an impossibly attractive blue alien ever offers you some exotic fruit, just say yes. It might lead to the adventure of a lifetime, or at least a really interesting first date story. Now, I've got to be honest with you folks. As I was spinning this yarn, I started to feel like I might be caught in a time loop. You know, like that movie Groundhog Day, but with more spaceships and fewer groundhogs. Was I repeating myself? Did these themes feel as worn out as Caleb's lucky space boots? I mean, how many times can we use the fish out of waterfalls for exotic alien trope before it starts to feel like we're just repainting the Millennium Falcon? And don't even get me started on the ancient alien technology saves the day bit. I half expected the crystal skull from Indiana Jones to make a cameo. So here's where you come in, my dear listeners. I need your input faster than Nika can take down a squad of evil space soldiers. Did this story hit the spot like a perfectly ripe ice-melting fruit? Or did it leave you feeling colder than a bowl of neglected space ice cream? What kind of sci-fi tales do you want to hear next? More epic space operas, gritty cyberpunk nightmares, comedy, romance, a cooking show, but set on a space station? Okay, that last one might just be my stomach talking. Drop your thoughts in the comments faster than Caleb drops his emotional barriers. Your feedback is more valuable to me than a stockpile of ice cream on a planet that's never known cold. Remember, in space, no one can hear you scream unless you're screaming about how much you loved or hated this story. Then I'm all ears. Or, whatever the alien equivalent of ears is. Stay cosmic, my friends.